on Sunrise and streaming on crossroadstoday.com. The Department of Justice released its report on Trump's election interference. The details are just ahead. Plus, what residents are saying about Bloomington's water, that's coming up. Plus, what Governor Greg Abbott is ordering the state to do on Monday.
For us in the short term, the clouds are back and rain will be returning for tomorrow, but that's the short term. And the long term, we got to talk about an Arctic front. It is going to be mighty chilly next week. We'll talk about all of that and the weather coming up.
And UHB women's softball opened their first day of practice yesterday at the U Sports Complex. I'll tell you more in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now Sunrise. Good morning, Crossroads, and happy Tuesday.
That's right, happy Tuesday. We're almost to Wednesday, halfway through the week, and it's about 6:31 on your terrific Tuesday. And what another chilly morning it is.
Yes, a chilly morning, but maybe it's a good day to mow the lawn before the rain gets here and the cold takes over next week.
Yeah, it's going to be getting cold next week.
And sending Russell some hints.
There you go. Good idea. Maybe I need to do the same for me as well, because I think my grass might be getting hot as well. But maybe y'all thinking the same thing Caro is. Maybe you need to go out there and mow that grass. Today would be a good day to do that before the rain gets here tomorrow. Expecting some mostly cloudy skies for today. Of course, we'll look at all that later on Sunrise, because before all that, you're tuning in with us right now, looking live here in Victoria. It's another chilly morning, like I just said, sitting at 45. That's a little bit chilly to me. I'm a warm weather kind of guy with lows in the 60s and 70s, but 45. Wind chill, that's down to 41. Some of us are seeing wind chills in the 30s this morning, so just be careful. Make sure to bundle up, a little bit chilly. And if you're tuning in with us right now anywhere else around the state, I would also bundle up, because we're looking at chilly temperatures in North Texas at 24 Lubbock, 32 freezing in Amarillo, and 28 along the Red River Valley in Wichita Falls. And down here in the Crossroads, we're all starting out our day in the low and mid 40s, some even in the upper 40s, even at 50 in Seadrift, because you're right next to that warmer water. But something y'all also may have noticed ever since actually last night, the clouds, they rolled back in. That big old strong cloud deck has picked up over us. Why is that? Well, first of all, we have a really weak extratropical low that's forming right off our coast. Not going to turn into anything, but it will bring us the rain for tomorrow. That coupled with the Pacific jet stream, thanks to the system that has been pummeling California, and we also have this system in the Pacific. We're going to watch for that Arctic front. All that later on Sunrise, because if you're seeing your kiddos at the door, like I said, pack them that jacket. 40s in the morning and low 60s in the afternoon. We'll look at the details of your day next.
Breaking this morning, two officials say Hamas has accepted a draft agreement for a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip and the release of several hostages. The Associated Press obtained a copy of the proposed agreement, and an Egyptian official and a Hamas official confirmed its authenticity. An Israeli official says progress has been made, but the details are being finalized. The plan would need to be submitted to the Israeli cabinet for approval. All three officials spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss the closed-door talks. Also breaking overnight, the Department of Justice releases Special Counsel Jack Smith's final report on his election interference case against the president-elect, after a federal judge cleared the way for its release on Monday.
This morning, the Department of Justice releases Special Counsel Jack Smith's final report on his election interference case against President-elect Donald Trump. The report lays out the probe that resulted in Trump being charged in 2023 with 4 felony counts of undertaking a criminal scheme to overturn the results of the 2020 election. Trump pleaded not guilty to all charges. The special counsel making it clear he believes prosecutors had enough evidence to convict Trump and maintained his investigation was free of interference or influence from political actors, the Justice Department, or anyone else. That prosecutors had evidence to prove that the 2020 election was not stolen despite Trump's repeated allegations to the contrary. And Smith also detailed the pressure campaign on the former vice president, writing, quote, "In repeated conversations, Mr. Trump pressured Mr. Pence to use his ministerial position as president of the Senate to change the election outcome, often by citing false claims of election fraud." In a letter obtained by ABC News that Smith sent Attorney General Merrick Garland last week along with his final report, Smith defended his conduct as fully lawful, free of partisan influence, and vital to the aspirations of the justice system, saying, quote, "The intense public scrutiny of our office, threats to their safety, and relentless unfounded attacks on their character and integrity did not deter from fulfilling their oaths and professional obligations." Smith also personally denounced Trump for levying, quote, "laughable and baseless attacks on the federal prosecutors who brought the 2 criminal cases against him." President-elect Donald Trump responded to the report on social media, calling Jack Smith a, quote, lame-brain prosecutor and claiming the voters have spoken. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
And that leads us to your viewer poll. You can scan the QR code right there on your screen to take part. We want to know, do you agree with the DOJ's decision to release the report on Trump? All right, let's take a look. 70% of you say yes, and 30% of you say no. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part in our viewer poll. Fire crews are sharing new video of their battle against the Palisades fire. The El Segundo Fire Department posted footage on social media Sunday of their crews doing their best to knock down flames threatening a home. The Napa Fire Department shared video of a block of homes on fire in the area, with crews working to keep the flames from spreading. At least 153,000 Los Angeles residents are under evacuation orders. We'll go to California, for more later. Senate confirmation hearings begin today for President-elect Donald Trump's cabinet picks. Final confirmation votes require only a simple majority, so Republicans don't need Democrats if they remain united, but dissenters can use the hearings to delay the process and emphasize their concerns. A defeat of a president-elect's pick to head a federal agency is rare and hasn't occurred since 1989. That's largely because those who stand little chance of getting confirmed usually withdraw. Bloomington residents are raising alarms over murky, discolored tap water that smells like sewage. The troubling issue has left many worried about the safety and quality of their water supply. Some residents say they've been dealing with the problem for more than a year, with the foul odor and unusual color making it impossible to ignore. The community is demanding answers and immediate action to fix the situation, which they say will require the entire water system to be replaced. We reached out to the water department and we're waiting to hear back. If someone calls claiming to be a law enforcement officer saying you have a warrant or owe money, it's a scam. The sheriff's office or police department never call about warrants, ask for personal information, or collect payments over the phone. Scammers use scare tactics like threats of arrest and may demand payment through gift cards or wire transfers. Officials remind you to verify any claims directly with the sheriff's office or police department. Don't share personal information unless you're 100% sure about who you're talking to. And remember, real officials won't pressure you for money or details over the phone. You may have noticed flags are being flown at half-staff. That's to honor former President Jimmy Carter, who died December 29th. But on Monday, Texas Governor Greg Abbott ordered flags in our state to be raised back to full staff on Inauguration Day. However, there is precedent for flags remaining at half-staff during inaugurations. It happened when Richard Nixon took office in 1973 because former President Harry Truman had died December 26th of the previous year. President Joe Biden ordered flags across the nation to fly at half-staff for 30 days after Carter's death. Remember, follow us on YouTube, Crossroads Today. Hit that like button and click the notification bell. The time now is 6:39 on our Tuesday morning. Here's a look at what's coming up next on 25 News Now Sunrise. Firefighters urging residents to sign a petition. What are the details? We have more after the break.
Winds in Southern California are expected to be intense tonight, and multiple fires are far from contained. I'm Zoreen Shah. I'll have that story coming up.
And also coming up next after the break in the full forecast today, thanks to the cloud cover, going to be another cool day all across beautiful Texas. I'll tell you how cool I think it's going to be just before the rain. We'll look at that too. But later on Sunrise, that Arctic front is on its way. Just how cold is it going to get? We'll talk about that later. Well, good morning, Crossroads. Your look alive in Cuero. You can't really see it on this camera, but I promise the clouds have picked up overhead and actually others ever since late last night. That's when the clouds roll back in, and that's going to be with us all the way up until tomorrow. But before we get to that, 39 degrees, still a little bit chilly out there if you're tuning in with us this morning. 36 is where the wind chill is right now. That's because your winds are between 5 to 10 miles an hour. A lot of us just seeing 5 to 10 miles an hour winds this morning. So with all that in mind, like I said, might bundle up. Just a tad bit chilly out there still. We're definitely not in the summertime yet. But like I was just saying, cloudy. It's going to be a cloudy day today. You can see that I'm pressing play on your future clouds and radar. Super duper cloudy. We may pick up a slight break in the clouds at around noon or in the afternoon time, down to mostly cloudy skies. But other than that, you're going to mostly see clouds for today. All the way through tomorrow, actually, it's going to be super duper cloudy. And actually tonight, we might pick up some local areas with some really, really light drizzle, really light rain. Don't think we're going to see any rain, like showers, like actual rain tonight, but we will see actual rain tomorrow because rain chances are up all the way up to 70% for your Wednesday or the Wednesday tomorrow. In fact, here's 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. You can see a couple scattered showers starting to develop in our counties, becoming a lot more scattered as we go into the afternoon. Here's noontime and then the afternoon. So with that being said, I think it's going to be a bit of a rainy day tomorrow. Not super duper rainy, not super heavy rain, because we're only expecting about a quarter to a half an inch for rainfall totals as we go all the way through tomorrow night. So with that being said, just bring out the umbrella. Make sure you got that out for tomorrow. But underneath the clouds today, going to be another slightly cool day, just like yesterday. Highs in the upper 50s and low 60s before lows tonight are dropping back to the low 50s and some in the upper 40s. But for the rest of this week, we're going to continue 50s and 60s highs before that big front gets here, and we're going to look at that next.
All right, Crossroads. So last week I mentioned that high school softball practice began last Friday here in the Crossroads, and baseball again for high school is going to plan to start here coming up here this Friday. But today, UHV women's softball began their first day of practice at Victoria Youth Sports Complex there earlier yesterday. And UHV softball last season there, they went 33-14 and 18-6 in Red River Athletic Conference play. So the Lady Jaguars, again, last season also reached their 9th NAIA tournament appearance and recorded their 13-30 win season there last year as well. And two senior UHV softball stars last season, Kenzie Chambers and Kaylee Lopez, talked about how last season was for them, what to expect here this upcoming season.
Well, last season was so much fun. I think just the energy that we brought to every tournament, it wasn't like I might have led, but I could not have done it without the energy that my team brought every game. I would have had a way less fun time if my team wasn't behind me every single game the way that they were. So I can accredit all that to them, and I think it's just super fun to show back up with that same fire and that same bond that we had last year.
It's my last season, so it's pretty bittersweet, but just wanting to be the best teammate I can for these girls. I've been here for 5 years, so I know how it goes, and I just am excited to be there for them and push them and have fun for the last year.
Now, as you heard there from both Chambers and Lopez, they both enjoyed last season and how the team was as a whole and the team bonding experience they had. And hopefully that can carry on there in the 2025 softball season. And again, they're going to begin the season play there in the Lake Charles tournament on January 31st there versus Weber International, Florida. And I think this team's going to make a run. They were receiving votes here coming into this season there for the softball team for UHV. And again, they got a lot of returning faces, so I think they're going to try to be a very good team to watch out there in the Red River Athletic Conference. This is Max Williams, 25 News Now Sports.
A new fire erupted northwest of Los Angeles overnight. Hundreds of additional firefighters are standing by as the region faces hurricane-force winds. One official says the weather conditions in the forecast are about as bad as it gets.
Overnight, a new brush fire erupting in Ventura County.
The wind is blowing this fire right along the riverbed.
The Los Angeles area enduring heavy winds and fire flare-ups hours after a special moment during the LA Rams playoff game.
This is my fight.
Los Angeles firefighters honored as fans held up an LA Together banner. The Rams going on to win. In Altadena, these workers were busy clearing brush, trying to create a break in the bone-dry vegetation that could fuel more fires. Planes nearby dumping plumes of flame retardant.
Overhead, you can hear the aircraft dumping all of that Phos-Chek on the mountains. And down below, there are hundreds of firefighters who've carved this fire break through this canyon.
The Eaton fire has already burned 14,000 acres, and overnight was just 33% contained. Across LA, the Palisades fire, which leveled entire communities, was just 14% contained. More than 12,000 homes and buildings have been damaged or destroyed in the fire zone. This map shows where the winds could gust the highest today, with a red flag warning through noon tomorrow.
They said 70-mile-an-hour winds. It's going to be very difficult to contain that fire.
Altadena residents are sharing these images they say might show the origins of the Eaton fire, showing flames at the base of an electrical transmission tower. ABC News has learned at least 4 homeowners and renters have filed lawsuits against Southern California Edison, claiming the company failed to de-energize equipment despite high wind warnings. The head of SoCal Edison's parent company says they've seen no indication their equipment started the fire, but they're aware of the videos and are investigating. And support from across the world and in their own community. Hundreds of volunteers handing out clothes, food, and other essentials to displaced families. First responders on the ground are also getting support from abroad. Places like Mexico, South Africa, Canada, even Ukraine. They're coming here to help with firefighters. Zoreen Shah, ABC News, Altadena.
The Victoria Firefighters Association is urging residents to sign a petition for a cause they say is crucial for hiring. The petition is to help establish a civil service and collective bargaining agreement with the City of Victoria. With the agreement, the Victoria Firefighters Association can negotiate funds and services directly with the city on equal footing. They say it'll make the fire department positions more attractive and keep up with the wages and benefits offered by other nearby cities. The association needs about 4,000 signatures in total to get the agreement on the upcoming ballot.
It creates a more professional working environment here for the fire department, and it makes us more desirable to bring in new firefighters and keep them here locally. The guys that show up on the worst day of your life, we need to be at our best, and that's all we're trying to do here. We're trying to make sure that we're at our best level so that when you need us, we're always there.
Just over 2,000 residents have already signed a petition to help the Victoria Firefighters Association, and they'll host another petition signing event at Rustic Ranch at 1301 Tristan Street from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Wednesday. The time is now 6:48 on our Tuesday morning. Still to come on Sunrise. 2 jets on a mid-air collision course as they approach the same airport for landing.
Well, good morning, Crossroads. I'm sure you've heard me talking about another Arctic front that is on its way, and I'm sure you're probably thinking, is that the one we had last week? Well, yeah, we did have one last week, but we've got another one coming our way this weekend, making next week mighty chilly. But before we get all down to the nitty-gritty details, we got to look at the big picture first. So starting out with the satellite over the continental United States, you can see most of the United States is pretty clear right now. Got a few patchy areas with some cloud cover, and of course, we happen to be one of those areas with clouds. You can see that right here with the Pacific jet stream that is starting to strengthen over top of our heads. Why is that picking up? Well, for one, why are the clouds picking up? For one, the Pacific jet stream, but for two, we also have another really weak extratropical low pressure system. You can't see it right here on the satellite, but it's right there off of our coast. It's not going to turn into like a tropical storm or hurricane or anything, but it will give us some rain for tomorrow, and it will give us the clouds for today and tomorrow, all the way up until Thursday. But the two big systems that we need to worry about for the next 7 days for the Arctic air are going to be these two upper level low pressure systems. You can see one right here on the backside, and then the other one which is now coming onshore onto Alaska and parts of northern Canada right now. Both of those two systems that you see right here will continue their current course heading northeastward into parts of northern Canada. And if you tuned in with me yesterday morning, you heard what that does. What's going to happen is as those two lows move up into far northern Canada, they're going to grab a piece of the polar vortex and send all that very, very cold air south. We're talking air temperatures at the surface in Kansas probably next week. Probably going to be the negative single digits or negative double digits. But for us in South Texas and the Crossroads, we're going to be below freezing, I'm thinking, for Monday morning, Tuesday morning, and maybe even Wednesday morning as well. And we're going to look at all that more later on Sunrise.
Now to a close call in the sky over Arizona near a major U.S. airport, this time involving passenger planes.
This video shows 2 jets on a mid-air collision course as they came in for landing at the Phoenix airport.
My first reactions were just shocked and surprised that 2 commercial airliners with hundreds of people on them were on a converging path.
This flight radar animation shows the planes nearly colliding Saturday. The plane on top is a United flight from San Francisco, below a Delta flight from Detroit. The planes came within 875 feet of each other vertically and about 1,200 feet horizontally. The only thing stopping them from colliding, an anti-collision system blaring in the cockpit.
We do have runway 8 in sight, cleared.
Both flights then circling before landing safely.
Normally, aircraft shouldn't get within a mile of each other. In this case, they were less than 1,000 feet.
Although these types of close calls have been on the decline, we've covered several notable incidents in the last year. Just last month, a jet carrying the Gonzaga University basketball team nearly crossed a runway in Los Angeles as another flight was taking off. And in September, an Alaska Airlines flight in Nashville had to slam on the brakes mid-takeoff to avoid colliding with a Southwest Airlines plane. The FAA says to prevent more close calls, it's investing in new runway lights and stepping up the training of air traffic controllers. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Still to come on Sunrise, news to know before you go. Special Counsel David Weiss's final report on Hunter Biden is now released. Special Counsel David Weiss's final report on Hunter Biden was released Monday. Weiss was the special counsel who charged Hunter Biden with gun and tax crimes before President Joe Biden pardoned his son. The report did not include any major unknown news, but it did include criticism of President Biden's decision to pardon his son. In a statement, Hunter Biden's attorney commented on the report, saying it omits several mysteries. A Texas man is facing charges for allegedly stalking WNBA Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark. 55-year-old Michael Lewis was arrested Sunday at his Indianapolis hotel. Court documents show over a few weeks, Lewis sent Clark threatening and sexually explicit messages on social media. Lewis is charged with felony stalking and has a court appearance set for Tuesday. Inadequate sanitation at a Virginia food plant was largely to blame for last year's multi-state listeria outbreak. That's according to a report from the USDA. Boar's Head started recalling products linked to listeria concerns in July 2024 and closed the plant a few months later. The USDA previously announced insects, mildew, and mold found at the facility. Victoria County is hosting a presentation on how to prepare for a winter storm. It's scheduled at 5 p.m. Thursday. Public Health Emergency Coordinator Ralph Montez will lead the class on how winter storms impact public health and how you can stay safe. Just show up at the Dr. Petty Dotson Public Health Center. Texas Supreme Court justices on Monday heard oral arguments in Attorney General Ken Paxton's effort to shut down an El Paso migrant shelter network he has accused of violating state law by helping undocumented migrants. You can read this story by the Texas Tribune on our website, crossroadstoday.com. And we want to invite y'all to experience our new digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your connected TV through Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, and Android TV. Just search for Crossroads Today Plus. And now let's get a look at our sunrise here over Port Lavaca with Parker. It's looking like there's actually some light there.
Yeah, you can see just a tad bit of light way out there in the background. Like I was saying earlier, there might be a few breaks in the clouds as we go throughout the rest of the day, but it's going to be mainly pretty cloudy all day. A little bit chilly out there right now, 46 degrees, so I might recommend going out there and grab the umbrella, or not umbrella, grab your jacket. It's a little bit chill out there. The umbrella is for tomorrow. We're looking for highs all across the state in the 50s and even the 60s down here in South Texas. Majority of Texas is going to be in the 50s. I think 61 here in Victoria. In Port Lavaca, we're looking for a high of 59 today. Lots of clouds, like I just said. Maybe, like I said, maybe a slight break in the clouds, but I'm thinking 61 here in Victoria. Same thing, super duper cloudy, and a little bit cooler in Cuero at about 60. But as we go into tomorrow, rain picks up. It's going to be a scattered rainy day for tomorrow, and it might not be a good idea. It may not be a bad idea to go to that informational on how to prepare for a winter storm, because a winter storm may be possible in Texas next week as we will be dropping to below freezing after that front gets here Saturday night.
It's all right if it rains tomorrow, but hopefully it doesn't get rainy next week with that cold.
I'm not a cold weather kind of guy.
Neither is the state of Texas.
Oh, no, that's true.
All right, well, thank you, Parker, and thank y'all for being with us. Join Shauna, Dawn, Matt, Clovio, and Max today for 25 News at 5, 6, and 10.